I want to try to help you get some clarity in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, particularly in Daniel 9. In Daniel 9, it talks about that Jerusalem should be rebuilt, and Artaxerxes gave the decree that it should be rebuilt and restored in chapter 9, verse 24, I think. So here's the key. How long was that to take? Well, it was 70 weeks, or 70 times 7 weeks of years, or 490 years. So from 457 BC till 33 AD, which was exactly 490 years, Daniel chapter 9 is fulfilled. Some people say there's a skip, and there's 7 years that was not accounted for, which entered into the church age somewhere where we are now, somewhere back after Jesus was crucified, and somewhere probably around the year 2000. But that hasn't happened, and that prophecy that some people have tried to say just don't hold water. When the 490 years were up, there's no skip, and it declared perfectly when Jesus was crucified in 33 AD. He was born in 4 BC. He was crucified in 33 AD, so he was approximately 37 years old. All right. Now, let's go to Matthew 24. And here's a great controversy. In chapter 24, Jesus said to them, "There shall not be one stone left upon another." He's talking about the temple, because the disciples said, "Look at this beautiful temple right here." He says, "There won't be one stone unturned." He was given a prophecy. Now, that stone that was going to be overturned was the temple. Here's another one. They said, "Well, when are these things going to take place?" He said, "Many are going to come in my name, and they're going to tell you, I'm Christ. Don't believe them." So there were people that came in his name saying that they were the Messiah, and they weren't. Then he goes on to say, don't worry about all this. It's all going to come to pass. There's going to be kingdom against kingdom, nation against nation. There's going to be famines, pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places. All those things came to pass during the period of time this is Matthew chapter 24 was prophesying of. Then he says this, it's the beginning of sorrows. Many of you, he's talking to the disciples and not talking to us. Many of you are going to be afflicted and put to death. Nearly all of them were put to death except John. They tried to kill him, burn him in oil. They finally let him go, and I think he died of a natural death. So that prophecy came to pass. He said, you're going to be hated by everyone, and you're going to have everybody against everybody. And that exactly happened. Now here's something else, real powerful. Verse 14, the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Okay, Colossians chapter 1, here's what Paul said. This gospel of the kingdom has been preached to all creatures under heaven. It's an accomplished thing. What was he talking about? He's talking about the known world at that time, and particularly in the Middle East, and particularly around Israel. He wasn't talking about this age. What's important about the age? All right, let's go back here and look at this. They said, when is the end of the world? All right, help me with this. When they said end of the world, the translation of the word world is A-I-O-N-O-S, aeonos. It means age. It doesn't mean world, it means age. So when is the end of the age? What age was he talking about? An age has a beginning and an end. The Jewish age is what he was talking about, not the church age. The church age is going to go on forever. We're the age of grace. And they were the age of the law, and the law was what he was talking about in the temple and the priesthood and everything that went with it. So when was going to be the end of the age? So Jesus trying to tell them, when is the end of the age? All right, then he tells them, then the end shall come after the gospel is preached. The end of what? The end of that age. Then there shall be great tribulation, which was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Actually, there was great tribulation, but who was it to? They were to be judged 7 times for their sins, the Jews for the rejection of Christ. We haven't rejected Christ. Have we got unbelievers out there? Yeah, but we haven't rejected him and crucified him. He's the Lord of glory. He's God come down from heaven. He is the incarnate God. And we have not. Even Gentile unbelievers out there believe in God. And so they're not the ones that's having him crucified. The Jews did. So they brought in this ungodly tribulation, and then along come the Roman army, and they started going in and persecuting the Jews. Okay. So then he goes on a little bit further, and he says, when you see all these things, know it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say to you, now listen to this. This is in verse 34. This generation, not our generation, this was penned somewhere around 30 A.D., or the events of it was taking place around 30 A.D., and Matthew probably penned it somewhere after that, but it was before 70 A.D., and he said, this generation. What generation? The generation that the apostles lived in. How long was a generation? About 40 years. Let's say this was taking place, these events, in 30 A.D. 40 years would be 70 A.D. This generation shall not pass away until all these things be fulfilled. So everything that we just read in Matthew chapter 24 has been fulfilled. It does not have a future fulfillment. It does not. Read it. Read it right here. I just read it to you. Matthew 24, verse 34. Verily I say to you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Everybody misses that. And he's already prophesied about some things was happening to the apostles. He says, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. He says, well, wait a minute, we're waiting for heaven and earth to pass away to be burned with fire. And what Peter said, no. Do you remember that teaching I did the other day about heaven and earth? The Jews saw the temple as being heaven and earth. That's where God dwelt. He dwelt in the Holy of Holies, above the mercy seat. Okay, are you getting this? Was it burned with fire? Yes, heaven and earth was burned with fire. Not this physical heaven and earth. That's not what he meant at all. We get caught up because we want to see things in a carnal way or a natural way, but he was talking about something of a Jewish custom that they believed that the temple was heaven and earth. It was the place where Gentiles could approach at the outer court, and some Jews, but only the priest could go into the holy, or the high priest could only go into the Holy of Holies. That's where God dwelt. Heaven and earth. It burned with fire. Okay, so now we're finished with that, and he says, that day and hour knows no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. And then he goes on to talk about how in the days of Noah. Here's what I want to help you with. I don't want you to start worrying about what's going to happen in the future. This is the age of grace right here. God is doing this. We're going to restore the nations. We're not Israel. We didn't reject Christ. We're not the Jews. We didn't reject Christ. We believe in him. And so what I want to tell you is, if you believe in him and you believe what I just said right there, then you don't have to worry about an Antichrist, because he's already come. He's already desecrated the temple, probably in the form of Titus, the Roman general. So it's an accomplished fact. Don't worry about Armageddon. It's already been done. So here's the key. Believe Jesus, believe his word, and walk in peace. God bless you guys, and go in peace. Love you. Bye.